Enter Tiberius Gracchus, a man from a wealthy family who was just elected as one of 10 of Rome's tribunes. As a tribune, Tiberius Gracchus was sacrosanct.
No touching!
His body never to be harmed and his life never endangered. As a tribune, it was Tiberius Gracchus's duty to protect the Roman people from the arbitrary and evil acts of corrupt politicians. Tribunes could veto proposed laws from magistrates, including from the highest office of consul, to protect Romans from corruption. Tiberius had 1 year as tribune, and he was going to go after his fellow aristocrats. Tiberius believed that the Roman 1% and their vast amount of property was damaging the common Roman citizen, and he was going to change that. Tiberius said that aristocrats would buy land from under family farms. Those farmers who had labored for generations to feed the Republic were now jobless and displaced, and had come to Rome looking for work. Meanwhile, the fields these noble farmers had worked were now worked by an aristocrat's slaves, who were paid nothing for their labor, making the 1% even richer. Tiberius made a populist argument, one that appealed to the common man. He would have these excess lands bought from the aristocrats and would be redistributed to poor citizens so they could have work and a home. Tiberius had a few supporters in the Senate, but many senators were this 1% and would stand to lose a lot of land and income if this proposed law passed. Thus, the majority of the Senate opposed Tiberius, and his proposed law failed. The Senate had other reasons not to support Tiberius. You can't say Tiberius's populist measures were totally virtuous. Tiberius Gracchus himself had quite the aristocratic pedigree, from a family with much auctoritas. His living father had been consul not once, but twice, and his grandfather was the famous Scipio Africanus who had defeated Hannibal. It wasn't even totally factual to say that the Roman 1% was making all this money. Italian communities also farmed this land that would suddenly disappear from them if Tiberius got his way. Furthermore, Roman politicians feared what may come should Tiberius prove successful. Tiberius's plan was to have himself, his father, and his brother Gaius Gracchus in charge of giving land to thousands of poor citizens. The Gracchi family would not gain celebrity from warfare, but generosity. The political capital and auctoritas of the Gracchi family would skyrocket by exploiting the direct wants of the average Roman. Yes, Tiberius Gracchus's proposal could theoretically improve the lives of many impoverished Romans, but it would also make him dominant in Roman politics. Thus, the Senate did not approve of the tribune's plan. As such, Tiberius decided if the Senate would not support him, then perhaps the Roman people would. Shouldn't the people of the Republic get to decide what would happen when the Republic was supposed to represent their interests? Normally, if the Senate did not support a proposal, it died. However, Tiberius Gracchus boldly asserted that the Republic was controlled by its citizens, whose will would not be stifled by the decision of 300 rich senators. Tiberius was giving power
to you, the people.
While bypassing the Senate was very rare, it was not unprecedented, which was good enough for Tiberius. If the people supported him, they would bypass the Senate's will and take land back from the 1% so they could have a job and a home. Now, Tiberius's only obstacle was getting the money to buy this land from the 1% so it could be redistributed to Rome's poor. The Senate, whose authority was now twice overpowered by Tiberius's manipulation, did not allocate funds. However, Tiberius wasn't dead in the water yet. As you may recall in our first episode, 133 BCE also marked the death of the king of Pergamon. The king willed the entirety of his rich kingdom to Rome. For Tiberius,
that was a freebie.
Tiberius seized the opportunity and supported the idea of absorbing the rich kingdom so he could use the influx of cash to finance his plan. Again, this proposal to accept the kingdom was voted on by Roman citizens, and again, Tiberius' desires were passed by the popular vote. Tiberius Gracchus began the faction known as the Populares. The Populares were using a radical new way to gain power. Rather than playing the traditional game of Roman politics, Tiberius would bend the rules to his will. Not backing down and appealing to the common man made him a very popular figure and would propel his career in Roman politics for decades to come. The faction opposing Gracchus were the Optimates. The Optimates wanted to keep playing the same game and didn't like how Tiberius was bending the rules and traditional politics. Most politicians were Optimates because they wanted their power to outweigh the people's power. They had been benefiting under the current system for centuries, and a popularis like Tiberius Gracchus, rallying the people's support to gain power and auctoritas, was pulling the rug out from under them. Tiberius's refusal to allow his land bill to be killed by the Senate now thrice violated traditional politics. Tiberius argued that the power of the Republic belonged to its people, who would ultimately decide policy for themselves, even if it violated the Senate's will. While Tiberius Gracchus's populist measures were meant to help the people, the ulterior motive was clearly to gain their support and advance his career in auctoritas.